Well, what is Watson Studio? So Watson Studio is a tool that's going to be helping data scientists and data analysts prepare data and build models at a scale across any cloud. So that brings together multi-cloud architecture that's going to really provide businesses to simplify their enterprise data science and AI. That's going to help shift organizations to become more data-driven companies. So I've had a little bit of experience with Watson Studio playing around with it. When you go to that, you start off the IBM Cloud, you go to your resource list, and then you find your services. Under your services, you'll see Watson Studio. And then you'll see a bunch of other services that you can embed within those, whether it's machine learning, Cognos dashboard, text to speech. Those can all be listed in those services and then integrated within Watson Studio as a whole. So as for getting started with Watson Studio, you'll notice that you give a dashboard on the IBM for Cloud Pak for data. On that, that's going to be another subject we talk about on another Wednesday. But although once you're there, you get started with Watson Studio, you create a project, there's community catalogs for help, whether it's going to be a sample project, learning paths, or even examples for notebooks and code to use for a training lesson. So that being, you're going to be able to see your data assets, which does include SPSS Modeler, which we'll talk about in a bit, your data assets, your environments, your notebooks, which is going to be where you can test and run your code on an API interface. And then you're also going to have your access control, whether you want to be an administrator of it, an editor, or even just a viewer. So let's move on to what is SPSS Modeler? So SPSS Modeler is a data mining and text analytics software application. This is usually used for building predictive models and to conduct analytic tasks. So that's going to really help aid enterprises accelerate the time to value when they want to achieve outcomes by speeding up tasks for data scientists. So one thing about that is data preparation and cleansing takes usually about 80% of a data scientist's time, which is an abnormal amount of time, which reduces it for creating insights. So that gives them only 20% of time to actually get something valuable from that data. So using tools like these is going to help eliminate that percentage and provide more value to bring insight. So with SPSS Modeler, you're really able to access data assets, modern applications, and using those to complete algorithms and models. So with that time saving, data scientists can really focus on the insights and company-driven strategies. So when it comes to using Modeler, that's also a function within Watson Studio. That function is able to have an easy drag and drop for the nodes, whether it's a data asset or maybe like an auto classifier type. You set up that modeling format, and then you can take it to a table output, Excel output, but it's a very easy drag and drop feature. So let's move to SPSS Statistics. So SPS Statistics, this is more of a statistical software platform. This allows you to analyze your data and solve complex business problems and complex research problems through a certain interface. So this aids really in providing high accuracy when using really large data sets, using those advanced statistical procedures. So SPSS can take data from almost any type of file and use them to generate kind of a tabulated report, charts, plots of distribution and trends, and really descriptive statistics to conduct more of a complex statistical analysis. It's really a big version to have a very complex report. You can also code this in a statistical syntax as well. So now let's talk about the market and the competitors. So on this, right now, the global predictive analytics market, the market size was valued at around 7.32 billion in 2019. So that now is projected to reach around 35.45 billion by 2027. So that's growing at around, let's say, a 22% rate from now, 2020 to 2027, which is a huge way to move towards clients because it's just going to be a higher market share. So what we need is we need your help to get a small piece of that. You have all the stuff that we need, all the software, all the clients, all the accounts, and then we use this to integrate all of these together. As I was saying, Watson Studio, you can integrate that with SPSS because there's a modeler flow data asset inside Watson Studio. So anything that you provide, it helps us kind of help you. So from an Ernst & Young study, this is really what the market will look like. And this is why we need each other to integrate other products to clients. So what we do is we know the competition, we know the market. The thing is we only sell IBM products, and that's to beat the competition. So what you would do is you bring me the leads, we make a call to action, and then let Cresco take care of everything else. What we want you to do is initiate, we close, we train, we consult. And then that's going to let us take all of this to the market as a partner aspect or partner perspective. And then for the competitors, right, we're competing against Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Alteryx. When it comes to that, Amazon has their SageMaker, Google Colab, the Azure Notebooks, and Alteryx. So what we're doing we're building this because the market is very large. So some of the clients are really looking for this. So let's go ahead and move to the differences here. So when it comes to SPSS statistics and SPSS modeler, there's a few differences. So for example, SPSS statistics, it's really going to be used for descriptive and predictive analytics. Descriptive is mainly your historical data. Your predictive analytics is going to be how you get insight from that historical data. Data has already been collected for those non-analytical purposes. And like I said before, used to create analytical reports, get a deeper dive into your historical data. We can also use it to test data for statistical significance from a single source. Now, on the other hand, SPSS modeler. This is more of a development of models that generate outcomes for those operational decisions. So you can combine that data from an abundant amount of sources, right? You can go from any type and put it in, combine those sources, and then gather insight from that model you create. It's also used for a pattern detection type problem instead of reporting. You're looking for a problem to predict it and then finding a way to get the best means necessary. And then the data collected is from usually a CRM app, and then you're going to keep that analysis in mind. Let's go over the benefits of using Watson Studio. So on this here, Watson Studio, you're able to automate your AI lifecycle. It has an auto AI feature. So that being, you can process lots of unstructured data. It can fill human limitations. It has a decision support system. This will help improve and transform customer service as a whole. And the thing is, with Watson Studio, you can use enormous quantities of data. There's almost no threshold when it comes to that. And the good thing is about Watson Studio, there's actually no coding involved. You can manage and monitor models through integration with, IBM Watson OpenScale or IBM Watson Machine Learning. Like I said before, when it takes to integration, we can put all these together, and that all fits within Watson Studio. And then here's a typical workflow of Watson Studio. So first, we're going to connect and access that data. So we're going to discover the content from, again, multiple data sources in the cloud or even on-prem. It could be structured or unstructured. And then you can bring that data to one toolkit. So next, we'll be searching and finding relevant data. That being the structured and unstructured data. And those AI assets are basically in the knowledge catalog with an intelligent search, and it gives right access to the right users. And then next, we're going to prepare data for analysis. So that's going to be data cleansing, data transformation, data preparation. And that can be used with the data refinery tool. Very helpful, very easy to use, very simplistic. This tool helps create the data preparation pipelines visually. Use more of a popular open source library and kind of prepare all of that unstructured data that's been given. So next, we're going to build and train the machine learning models. So that's going to be design your AI models programmatically or visually, really. It's one of the most popular open sources, and you can leverage all of that pre-trained model using those Watson tools to adapt to your business domain. And the next step, deploying models. So this is very simply said. We deploy those models easily anywhere, kind of have them scale automatically for online, batch, or even streaming use cases. And then for the final step of the workflow, we're going to monitor, analyze, and manage. So that one, monitor the performance of the models in production, and then we can trigger those automatic retraining and redeployment of those models. That'll help build enterprise trust, robustness, and security when using those models. So now let's check out the benefits of SPSS. So first, we have effective data management. So SPSS is really meant for organizing data in a more optimal manner. Data analysis is quicker because the program knows the location of the cases and variables. So when using a spreadsheet, users must manually define this relationship in every analysis, as opposed to using SPSS, makes it more robust and quick. As for the wide range of options, So general programs typically offer other procedures like maybe invoicing and accounting forms, right? But with SPSS comes more techniques of screening or cleaning the information in data preparation for further analysis. Again, diving deeper into that. Many other programs require extended plugins, which SPSS does not. It has a way higher advantage and a leverage point you can use. And for better output organization. So SPSS is also designed to make certain that the output is kept separate from the data itself. It stores all the results in a separate file. So other programs are likely to kind of open another worksheet or open another tab that might get you mixed up with the data you're having instead of having it stored in a separate file, which could be done unintentionally when you're using another program. And here's the workflow of SPSS. So this one's pretty laid out and simple. So going to be opening the data you're with your file types or data files, right? We're going to be inspecting it, the contents within, the structure of the data, and then the data values, cases, and variables. And then next, we're going to be editing the data. We're going to change the values. We're going to compute the means and select a group. This is used for analysis. And then that concludes or goes to the next step of analyzing the data. Create a table or chart, run those statistical models or procedures. And that gets you to the end of saving and closing the data. Results and commands are going to be used. And those sub-steps, as it says, puts it in an output file or any other type of file, whether it's Word, Excel, you name it. And then here's going to be a couple use cases for SPSS. So a main one is for HR, human resources, right? They're talking about employee turnover or employee attrition. So since it's a predictive tool, employee turnover really kind of, I'd say, gets businesses on the wrong side when it comes to costs. Imagine the training you need to do for a new person, onboarding processes, all the excess stuff that's already been done with that previous employee now have to transfer to a new employee, which is why you use that predictive tool to predict whether it was a good loss of that employee or a rather poor loss of that employee. So for example, cultural impact as well. So whenever someone leaves the company, other employees will ask, well, why did they leave? And then we're also going to be forecasting workforce requirements, determining how to best fill those open positions, discovering the underlying reasons for employee attrition, and kind of establishing effective training, benefits, and career development initiatives. So for security, this is to kind of mitigate and detect fraud. So we can kind of automate claim reviews, identify fraud really early in the life cycle so you can prevent it. Spot vendors who are performing fraudulent activity, as well as more suspicious type of claims. So we're going to explain exactly what was fraudulent and what was not. All right.